Hi, welcome to episode 6, maybe 6?
Is it 5?
I don't know, it's 5 or 6. Of Well, We Are Working with Andrea and Jim. We are working from a different place today, or we're recording from a different place today. So if you hear dogs, it's the holidays. If you hear dogs or if you hear crying, that's also dogs.
It's my dog in particular, but
Yes.
yeah, he's a little obsessed with Andrea. So if she's not giving him a constant attention, true, but,
especially with my new haircut.
Right? It looks great.
You can't hear it. You can't hear it. You can see it. So I'll just explain for anyone listening. I chopped off all my hair. It looks really cute. Jim's dogs aren't the only people obsessed with me.
Right.
Okay.
So.
Anyway, jumping right in. It's the holidays, so we watched a real good holiday movie.
Was it? I don't think good comes to mind.
So we watched The Coal Miner's Daughter, which, if you haven't heard of it, you're not alone.
But it was real. It was good. It was very entertaining. We didn't
watch The Coal Miner's Daughter. We watched the Meyerowitz Stories.
What podcast do you think we're doing? I'm like, wait a minute. Why are we talking about The Coal Miner's Daughter?
Yeah, we're watching. I'm sorry.
It was so impactful. She was just blown away by Coal Miner's Daughter. It's still in her mind.
Oh my God. It's the holidays. My new haircut has me all confused. We watched the Meyerowitz Stories.
The Meyerowitz Stories, yes.
Which is Adam Sandler, Ben Stiller,
Dustin Hoffman,
Emma, oh God, what's her last name?
I don't know.
There's an Emma. And it was directed by Noah Baumbach and written by him, who, if you don't know, he also wrote A Marriage Story, which won a bunch of awards. And he's also married to Greta Gerwig and co-wrote Barbie. So that's his background, just so you know.
Well, I didn't know all that. Okay. I didn't care to know anything more than what I got from the show.
Okay, we should also say, the reason I wanted to choose the Meyerowitz Stories is because it's supposed to be Adam Sandler in a role like you've never seen him before. He's supposed to be totally not Adam Sandler.
Yeah. That is literally my very first note. Danny. Oh my gosh. It started out a little rough for me because it was triggering road rage, even though I wasn't driving.
Oh, because it starts in a cab.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no, it starts in a car.
In his car, yeah. So he's in his car and he's trying to park, and it was just
in New York City.
Oh my God. It was giving me such a anxiety feeling already. I was just I have road rage and I'm not even driving. I'm just sitting here in my living room.
I think Noah Baumbach is good at that in his movies, though. The one thing I will say, I'm going to be very honest, I didn't love the movie.
I didn't like it at all.
But it evoked a lot of feeling in me. And I think that's one thing I will say.
Were they good feelings?
Well, we'll go through them. Actually, no, none of them were good. Yeah. I will say that's one thing that I think if you haven't seen A Marriage Story, same thing. It doesn't bring good feelings, but it brings a lot of feelings. So I think he's really good at that.
Yeah, it did that. I was also really confused why Dustin Hoffman looked like Santa Claus.
I did not think Dustin Hoffman looked like Santa Claus.
Maybe it's just because it's Christmas time right now, but when I first saw Dustin Hoffman
I don't know who your Santa is, but my Santa has a long white beard and a big belly.
He had a white beard. He had a full white beard.
Cropped.
No, he just looked like Santa.
And he's 4 feet tall and there's no belly. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know who your Santa is. Your Santa is obviously not my Santa. Dustin Hoffman. My problem with this movie, honestly, was that Dustin Hoffman and his character reminded me way too much of my own father. And I can talk about that freely here because I know, just like Dustin Hoffman in the movie, my father will never watch this or listen to this because he does not care.
Well, that's sad.
So, I could very much relate to these kids in this movie. I was like, he doesn't, So anyway, that was really hard. The entire movie I was thinking God, Dustin Hoffman really reminds me of my dad. I even said he seems so old, it made me sort of sad. And also he reminds me of my dad. And also, why do people get so annoying when they get old? It was annoying.
I don't know if people get so annoying, but there are things that happen, right? The older you get, the more dementia things set in and they repeat themselves or stuff like that. I could forgive that, but this was just narcissism to such a different level that I was just like, I can't. But also, like, I kind of felt like the children were somewhat similar.
Very.
And I was like, I don't like any of these people. But before we get down that road, I want to know. At one point, Jean says, I made cookies, but I stepped in dog shit. And then so I was like, but I don't understand what happened to the cookies.
I like Jean, though. I like Jean because she's such a mess. And the good news is about Jean is, like, even in that last scene, and this kind of gives away, but the last scene, she says something, I could ruin every car in this parking lot and it wouldn't unfuck me up.
Right.
Because Jean's just fucked up and she knows she's fucked up.
Right, but I'm still like, what happened to the cookies? What in the stepping in dog shit caused the cookies to not exist anymore?
I love Jean. Oh, I only want good things for Jean.
I went through, like, I'm looking at my notes and I have a lot of,
You have a lot of notes. I didn't have any notes.
This sucks. I have a lot of, like, things like that in my notes. That. But, like, I don't know. For me, it was on this emotional roller coaster of things where I was like, what? Oh, my God. That it just kept happening. And I was just like, I don't understand why this is here. And I get the point of some of it being there. I did understand
why all of it was there. That's the thing, is I didn't particularly like the movie, but I honestly do think it was well made. Like, I got why every part happened the way it happened. And I got, like, why little things were put in at certain times. So
then what was the point of the soup? That horrible, nasty soup that was not really cooked. It was just
setting the tone for, like, that's the kind of woman she is. She makes shark soup and it's not even cooked. And also set the tone that she's got a problem with alcohol. She's a little, like, we got all that about Jean.
I guess. And then we got to Vagina Man. What the fuck was that? That was the movie. The daughter's movie. Vagina Man. And I was just like, what point does this saw?
Okay. So in all honesty, the Dustin Hoffman character reminded me of my father. Yeah. But this entire family reminded me of a family I know. I'm not going to say who, but a family I know.
Not my family.
No. Not your family. Where, like, someone in the family is very artsy and everyone's like, oh my God, they're so artistic. Oh my God, they're so good. And then I see some of the stuff and I'm like, like, not for me. And I feel like a lot of people feel that way, but the family just is like, it's so good, but it's also just so not.
Well, I mean, you have to be supportive in a sense. Just because you don't like something doesn't mean that it isn't good, especially when it comes to art.
I feel like in their world, you have to be this artist. Like, that is what they, that's what Adam Sandler strove to be. That's clearly what Ben Stiller may have striven to be, or maybe he really didn't want to go that route and is annoyed that everyone thought he would. Jean, same thing. So I think, like, the daughter, they're like, of course she's this amazing artist because look at her lineage.
Yeah, I guess. But I just found it slightly disturbing that if my daughter sent me a video where she was running around with no top on and doing the things that she was doing in this video, I would not have watched it.
I could not imagine sending my dad a video where, like, my boobs are flopping all over the place. Right. I'm like, oh my God.
I cannot imagine watching that. I would be so embarrassed. And I'm gay, so it's not like it's going to turn me on or anything.
But still
it's just
weird. I
mean, so weird. Yeah. And it fitted with the narrative of her and the art. I guess
and then her family just, like, the art above all, like, we see this as a beautiful thing, not the fact that, like, our daughter just sent us this, like, weird porn of her.
Right.
Yeah, right. It was weird.
Yeah, she was.
I will say, yeah, the daughter. Also, can we just talk about the fact that who is that girl? Because she looks just like Shailene Woodley.
Oh, I don't know.
From The Fault in Our Stars.
Yeah.
I know. I was like, is that Shailene? And I was like, it's not Shailene, but who is she? Because she looks just like her. That was kind of weird. Also, going back to how we started this podcast, which was talking about the coal miner's daughter. Just kidding. I'm not going to go into that.